Well, we've been discussing all week the abortion fight in America is heating up after the Supreme Court's leaked document, draft opinion that overturns Roe versus Wade was leaked out. But the unraveling of Roe started with one bill in Mississippi that would ban abortion at 15 weeks, and a decision is expected from the court within a few weeks. Here to break down the legislation that started it all is Mississippi Governor Tate Reeves. Governor, good to see you.
It's good to see you as well, Sean. Hope everything's going well for you.
Well, it's going fantastic. Thank you. If the court does find that the 2018 Mississippi abortion law is constitutional, it would ban abortion at 15 weeks. I think, and I'm not a doctor here, but most people would argue that fetal viability is somewhere between 20 and 24 weeks. Since Roe was decided in 1973, we've advanced technologically quite a bit in terms of what we can see and what we know. Are pro-life advocates messaging this well enough, messaging the science of this debate well enough?
Well, I think that's always a challenge, and it's important that we tell the truth and that we message it in the right way. But what I would say to you is that I believe that the American people are on our side. If the Mississippi law is upheld and 15 weeks is in fact allowed, then obviously Mississippi moves in the right direction. But I will tell you, even so, there will still be 39 out of 42 countries in Europe that have more restrictions on abortion than Mississippi did, if in fact the court just simply upholds our law. That's the reason that we went further and asked for a Roe v. Wade to be overturned. But we believe that the American people are not for abortion on demand. We think clearly a vast majority of Americans do not want abortions allowed in the third trimester. And that's why it's so shocking that 49 United States senators voted last week to allow unlimited abortions all the way up to the birth of the baby. And all 49 of those were Democrats.
You know, we can kind of back up exactly what you're saying. We had exclusive polling that we had for the show from Trafalgar and Conventions of State that shows that voters, only 24% of them want abortion to be legal, except in the case of rape or incest or the health of the mother. I know that Mississippi's bill did not make exceptions for the race, and I know you weren't governor then. But do you think it would be more palatable to the American people if rape and incest were carved out?
Well, I will tell you, Sean, that if the Supreme Court, the leaked document, which is a story in and of itself and a topic in and of itself. But if the leaked document of the opinion is actually accurate and the court, a majority of the court does decide to uphold and overturn Roe v. Wade, then we actually have a trigger law in place. And our trigger law would actually allow for for abortion to be banned in Mississippi, but it does in fact have an exception for rape, and it has an exception for life of the mother. And so I think that there's no doubt that there are instances, there are individuals that certainly push for exceptions, and that's okay. What we're trying to do in Mississippi is illustrate the fact that there have been 63 million American babies that have been aborted since Roe v. Wade was enacted. We think Roe v. Wade was wrongly decided, and we think this is a perfect time for the court to say exactly that and overturn Roe.
Just to be clear, though, that bill doesn't have an exception for incest, right?
The 2007 law, which, by the way, was enacted when Mississippi had a Democrat Speaker of the House and a Democrat Chairman of Public Health. It really speaks to how far the Democrat Party has moved on abortion. But even in Mississippi, we still have a large number of folks who say that they're Democrats who are pro-life. But in that 2007 law, there's an exception for rape. There's an exception for life of the mother. There is no other exceptions.
Governor, one of the things that's happening on the left is they're using this argument to say, you know, this is just the beginning. And I want to play a clip about something that you were asked on CNN when it comes to contraception. Take a listen.
The next phase of the pro-life movement is making sure that those babies, once born, have a productive life. And while I'm sure there'll be conversations around America regarding that, it's not something that we've spent a lot of time focused on.
So I know that the Washington Post and a bunch of left-wing outlets are trying to put words in your mouth. So I just want to ask you, do you believe that birth control is a form of abortion, and would you ban it?
Yeah, you're exactly right. I have been clear. I thought I was clear on the show, and certainly have been clear after that we have no intention of banning contraceptives in Mississippi. The next phase of the pro-life movement is for us to focus on making sure that those expectant mothers, whether they're intentionally expecting or not, have resources that they need from a healthcare standpoint, but not just healthcare across the board. And also the next phase in the pro-life movement in Mississippi is going to be focusing on trying to find ways that should a mother take a child to birth that for whatever reason either cannot or will not take care of it, then we need to make it easier in Mississippi for adoptions. We need to make it easier in Mississippi for foster care. We need to make it easier in Mississippi to ensure that we can find a forever home for all of those babies. And that's really what we're focused on. We're not at all focused on contraceptives. But I think the mere fact that the far left and the far left outlets are trying to focus on these very rare instances and focus on anything but the almost 99% of abortions that are elective that we're trying to stop tells you that they know what we know, and that is the American people are on our side, particularly if we focus on this issue in the right way.
Exactly. Governor, I want to commend you for fighting so hard for life, number one. Number two, the last comment that you just made, what you're doing to take care of the child after that birth, supporting the mother, supporting adoption, supporting foster care is something that I think you should be commended for. So thank you for your leadership on that.
Well, thank you. I think it's important as well. We must recognize that being pro-life is not simply being anti-abortion. It's about creating a culture of life in our state and across America.